Hey, what's going on, man? Hey there, I'm here to take photos. Come on in.
Awesome.
Oh, your shoes. Don't gotta worry about that. I got my booties on. Booties? Yeah. Booties? Got them ready for every shoot. Man, you're an amazing real estate photographer. You know what? I am. Ready to beat out your competition and grow fast? What's going on? My name is Cole Connor. I'm an artist and entrepreneur, and today I want to talk to you about how you can take your real estate photography business to the next level in 10 easy steps. Let's get into it. What's going on? My name is Cole Connor. I'm an artist and entrepreneur, and I was put here to do two things: create and inspire. Thanks for being here. Let's get into it. When you're just starting a business or you're in your first few years, you eventually get to a point where you're like, I don't really know what to do anymore to grow. I know I've definitely been there more than once. You have all these ideas for the future, but it's difficult to connect the dots. How do you make it happen? Today, I'm hoping to connect at least a couple of dots for you if you're running a real estate photography business. Even if it's just a photography business, I'm sure you can use a lot of these ways to help propel you to the next level. I've started multiple real estate photography businesses in now 3 different cities over the past 7 years. I've had photographers work for me. I've worked for other photography companies, and it's all given me great insight on how to run a real estate photography business. We're gonna break down these 10 ways into 2 different sections: business operations and client connections. Let's get into business operations. When you first dive into entrepreneurship for anybody, it's incredibly overwhelming. Honestly, you have to sit in it for a while before you even realize what you need to do to be competitive in your market. Our workflow and the way we operate our business a lot of the times is the missing piece. I've personally noticed once I've implemented the things we're about to talk about, it either freed up my time so I could focus on other things or allowed me to up my quality of work. Content management system. For years, I used Dropbox and Dropbox only to disperse my photos to my clients or to my other team members. It worked great until I started using Aryeo. I think that's how you pronounce it. Aryeo. I found out about Aryeo in the real estate photography Facebook group, which if you haven't joined, you should definitely join because there's so many tidbits in there. You just got to pay attention. I decided to give it a shot, and I was just so amazed at how it was practically created for me. It's created for real estate photographers in mind. So everything that you've always wanted to have or to create or to use in your business is pretty much there. It seems to be always improving, it has awesome features, and most of all, it makes me look even more professional to my clients, which is huge. I've also heard of HD Photo Hub. I've never used it, but I'm sure it's similar. I can go deeper into Aryeo another day. Let me know if you want me to. My advice is to not underestimate a content management system or platform that's created for people like you. Yes, it costs money, not very much, but it saves so much time and makes you so much more productive. And like I said, more professional looking. Taking payments before shoots. Getting paid has always been a stressful part of the process for me. I've never not been paid, but for the longest time I had so many different rules for so many different clients. This person doesn't pay for a few days, that's cool, no worries. This person that person this. It sucked. And I started to worry less and less about it when I made a rule for my business. A policy. The policy is, and I send it out with every invoice before every appointment. I typically get paid on the day of or before a shoot. If you have an issue with it or if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to let me know. Most of the time, there's no questions or concerns. You've laid it out there. If they don't pay you on the day of, that's a problem. And just as a side note, I very, very rarely ever send photos before an invoice is paid, even if you're a client who I've worked with, because it's just extra stress that I don't need. It saves so much headache to pay beforehand. Now, are there exceptions? Yes, of course there are exceptions. For example, I had an assistant that was working for a larger real estate company. They contacted me. They let me know that their company would not pay for the photos beforehand. But if I could get the photos done and get it back to them and they like the photos, which actually they didn't even say like the photos. They just said if I could get the photos to them, he could get clearance to pay the invoice immediately. So of course I was a little skeptical, but after looking them up, I was like, seems like a legit company. And a lot of the times bigger companies do enforce policies like that. So they were I was gonna lose out on the shoot if I didn't do it. And at that time, I really felt like I needed it. So I did do that and it worked out. Another example would be if it's a longtime client that I trust and I know that they're going to pay it. It usually doesn't bother me, but like I said, sometimes you have to kind of push that rule if someone takes advantage of you. Next, the all-in-one business model. Throughout the photography businesses I've built and the cities that I've lived in, I've always kind of wondered, do I want to go all in on real estate photography, or do I want to keep it broad and do all types of stuff and be like a jack of all trades in the photography world? Of course, you don't have to be the business or person that does every single thing that they need. There's a lot of people and photographers that I've met who they don't want to do video. They just want to do photography. And especially if you're really niche down and you get high, clients who pay a lot for your work, then maybe you don't ever need to. But most of us do, and it greatly impacts your revenue if you don't offer all the services that you can. It doesn't take that much of a learning curve for real estate photography, incorporate video, do reels, do floor plans and 3D tours and property websites, hiring people to help you do like virtual staging. These are all things that it's kind of like a given you should know how to do too if you're running a real estate photography business. And drone, don't forget drone. That's like a definite given. It takes your average price per shoot and it doubles it or even triples it. And I mean, you're already going to the house. It only takes an additional hour or sometimes two if you're doing like this whole full package. And if you can bring your price per shoot, double it, triple it, it's kind of worth it. Learn to become a better editor as much as you can, or hire someone who can edit for you. I've had people on my team edit. I've edited myself. I've been a part of several companies who hire other people to edit their photos, most of the times overseas. As your business grows, you will have to find ways to speed up your workflow. Or you can raise your prices to have less shoots, or you can hire an editor. I think each has its own pros and cons depending on your personal goals. For me right now, I'm enjoying editing myself. If I got too busy though, like I couldn't keep up. There's just no way. And be happy and have like a life that I would like to live. Basically, you should just prepare for growth. So maybe if like right now, I've already made a couple contacts with editors. And so if I really needed them, they could get it done for me. So building these contacts early before you need them, I think is a good call. And then of course you have, to find out who's good, weed out the good ones and the bad ones and all that stuff. That's a whole nother conversation. All right. Last thing from the business operations standpoint, I know this video is getting kind of long, but I feel like there's a lot of valuable information. I want to make sure you get it. It's to join a networking group or a chamber of commerce. Now in the past 2 cities I've been in, I did not do this, but I noticed when I was in Columbia, South Carolina, and I joined a networking group and a chamber of commerce, or I didn't join the chamber, but I considered it. And I've looked up the chamber here in Los Angeles, and I'm thinking about doing that too. It just forces you to network, and no matter what you do, almost always, the number one way to grow your business, especially if you're just like a solopreneur doing it yourself, is to build relationships. I mean, ultimately, I'm the biggest introvert and I have a hard time making myself get out the house and do stuff. I did it a lot more before the pandemic, and when I was in my mid-20s, I loved it and I got a little bit of a high off of it. But these days, I definitely find myself wanting to go out less and less. So I think joining some sort of networking group and chamber just could really, you stand outside your comfort zone. Almost always there's going to be a couple real estate agents associated with this group, which already gives you some connections. And if you build the right relationships in these groups, it just compounds on top of each other. So highly recommend joining a networking group or chamber of commerce. Next, this is my favorite. Let's talk about client connections. And before we dive into client connections, if you are a complete beginner, I do have Real Estate Photography 101, the course in the description. You can check it out on SKILLSHARE. If you have SKILLSHARE, you can get it on Udemy, or if you want some of the extra things that are included, like there's a guide that I have, there's some presets, you can go to my website and you can also get it from there. Whichever one floats your boat, but I highly recommend checking that out if you are a beginner in real estate photography. It will teach you a thing or two. And I've got a new course on the way that's really for the people who are really trying to grow to 6 figures, who you're kind of past that beginner level. So I'm excited to get that done. So, okay, client connections are the little things that you do that impact your clients, helping them look good or potentially helping them better market themselves, because we are creators, we're photographers, we're videographers. Ultimately, that means that we have a lot of knowledge about creating, and these days, a lot of marketing can be done yourself. So you can teach your real estate agent how to do some of it themselves, or just collaborate with them, whatever floats your boat there. In the end, these things I'm about to go through are the things that really make you stand out, because you're building a stronger relationship and a more personal relationship with these agents. And I mean, you're an extension of them. So when you look good, they look good. Always remember that. And I'm admitting that I'm not the best at all these things either, but I know that if I continue to incorporate them in my business model, it will do well for me. First thing, booties. Booties, 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 rocking everywhere. Yes, I mean foot booties. Of course, every single house does not need booties or for you to remove your shoes, but having them on hand is a great idea. There are some people who are super anal about people wearing shoes in the house. So asking if you need to wear booties, or just you could always bring them in your bag, whatever works. But having them on hand, I think, is an extra professional sign. And along with booties, it's kind of, fading away because the pandemic is pretty much over. But masks on hand just in case is good as well. Really, if you're shooting luxury homes, I feel like you should definitely have a box of booties in your car. This person's home, that is your client's client. So if you can impress them by already wearing booties or having them or offering them, that makes you and your client look good. Guides for your clients. Creating the guides for your clients not only can help them, but it can shape them into your ideal perfect client, which, I mean, we all want easy clients, right? My best example that I currently have is how to prep a home for a photo shoot guide. I tell my clients that they can use this for themselves if it's like an Airbnb or someone contacting me directly. Now, if it's a real estate agent, I say they can show this and directly edit it for with their own logo and their own marketing materials, and give this to their client as a resource to use when they're prepping for a photo shoot. It is a win-win because it helps the client prepare them. Then it helps the photo shoot go more smooth, and it also kind of gives the agent a marketing tool. You can create guides for your process, for maybe interior design, for Airbnbs, etc. Just get creative with it, brainstorm. There's ways to help your clients and help you with guides. I couldn't believe this the other day. A leaf blower. So I was working with a company and I was doing videography. The agent had hired another photographer. He showed up and I thought he was the lawn guy because he was blowing off the front yard. And maybe this seems natural, maybe a ton of people do this, but I had thought to do it a couple of years ago, but I didn't stay in the city long enough, and then I moved and I just kind of forgot about it. But he literally did that to the whole front yard. He leaf blowed the yard. It was his leaf blower. He got it out of his car, and I was like, wow, that is above and beyond. Selfishly, I know this makes our jobs easier, and maybe he's just doing it for himself, but it shows that you care, and I really like that. And just the fact that you're going out there, you're doing it, you're making sure it looks great, and the agent doesn't have to worry about it, that's beautiful. This is something that I plan to incorporate in my business sooner or later. All right, send out cards. Okay, I'm sure there's other companies, but the one I'm familiar with is called SENDOUT cards. And I know probably a lot of agents use this already, so your client probably uses this, but it's time to use it for them. I know there's one agent in particular in Beaufort, South Carolina that uses this, and she's fantastic with it. She sent me brownies on my birthday and it was awesome. Shout out Kasha. Send out cards is just a great way, I think, to make people feel special. And it does cost money, so you have to have a little bit of budget for this. But these are your clients. These are people who are paying your bills, yo. So it's really important to take care of them. So one thing I plan on incorporating in my business is to collect their addresses, their birthdays, and send them birthday cards. Or if a big event I see on Facebook or Instagram happens in their life, you download their Facebook profile picture, throw it on the card, or download the picture they posted on Facebook about it, put it on the card. They can put it on their fridge, send them just random cool things. It doesn't sorry, I just went on a little tangent there, but SENDOUT cards is ultimately a website where you can send cards to people. You can send brownies, you can send cookies. I don't know all the things that you can send because I'm not currently implementing this, but like I said, I do plan to. I think it is a great idea that hardly anyone in the real estate photography game is doing. Like I said, real estate agents are doing it, but there's definitely other websites too that do this. Or you can just, handwrite things or go purchase things yourself and send it to your client. I saw a real estate photographer on a story or something. She had brought balloons for someone's birthday. Things like that really create a personal relationship, And I feel like real estate photography is so business focused that it's easy to be such a cut and dry, oh, this guy's cheaper than you, I'm going to go with him. But if you build personal relationships, yeah, it just takes it to a whole other level. So I would really think about incorporating something like that in your business. This one may seem like common sense, but you want to be a resource and supporter of your client. So what I mean by be a resource is, I just had someone the other day say, hey, can you help me with virtual staging? I hadn't found my contact yet, but it pushed me to go and find my contact for virtual staging. And I want to be a resource for her and be able to offer that as a service. Another way is if maybe it's an Airbnb person, you have a staging connect. Say, oh, hey, I can connect you with this staging girl if you really need help staging. Have a list of contacts. That's what real estate agents do. When I became a real estate agent in 2021, I learned about all these different marketing tactics and how important it is to have these list of contacts that you can connect people with. Yeah, so be a resource, build out a list of contacts that could benefit a real estate agent or an Airbnb owner, etc. Be a resource with your contacts. And then support them on social media. I think that's huge. It doesn't take that much effort. Like their post, comment, look at their stories, leave responses. These are little things that, I mean, imagine when someone does that to you, it feels good. No matter what, like no matter who you are, it feels good. When anyone does that to me, it feels good. I love it. So do that to your potential clients and your current clients. Show them support. And lastly, and this is one of my favorite things, is creating marketing content that will take your business to the next level. If you've taken my course, you know this. I create a lot of YouTube videos for agents. I put in an email, I send it out in a blast, and it helps me get clients. It helps people reach out to me and say, hey, I'll use you soon. Or hey, this was really helpful. I appreciate that. Or they follow me on social media, and then eventually they reach out later on. It's a long process, but on top of that, you get views on YouTube and you get subscribers. And if that's something that you're interested in, you can grow a whole nother fan base that way. Of real estate agents, of photographers, and that's kind of what I'm doing, and it works for me. And if you're someone who doesn't mind making YouTube videos and being on camera and you enjoy it, highly recommend making marketing content. All right, guys, those are my, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Holy shit, I think it's 12. I think I meant to say 12. But anyways, you got 2 extra ones. That's cool. Yeah, the main thing with growing your real estate photography business, word of mouth is always the biggest thing you can do, in my opinion, especially in the beginning. You can go check out my thumbtack video if that's something you're interested in. Doesn't work for everyone, but it might work for you. And always just stay learning. Hop in that real estate photography group. Take courses. There's tons of courses out there. Just don't stop learning. Everything that I've mentioned is linked in the description on the blog post that I've created. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. That's it, guys. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Every day I wake up with a vision, cooking in the kitchen, ain't no fucking in a mission, like yo. Shaking up your city with my bitchin', sold in the building, and the motherfucker fizzing like whoa. Cold won't stop till they get that gold.